Hi, Rachel. Thank you for taking the time to chat with me today. I'm really grateful that you first had a question on, hey, who wants to collaborate with me? And then I reached out and now we're doing a collaboration. So I'm grateful for all of that that's culminated in this conversation right now. No one can see that. Rachel just made heart hands and it's happily received. Yeah. So I'd love to know starting off here, what, if anything, feels alive for you in your life right now with regards to womanhood and femininity?
Was this the question that
The
you
one
had?
question I prepared. Yes.
Okay. First of all, I just want to say a big thank you for not getting me to introduce myself because I really don't do that. And um, my nervous system relaxes when you just go straight in. We get to be.
Mhm.
Um, what is alive for me right now as it relates to womanhood and femininity? Um, I think the biggest thing that comes to mind for me is just growing up. And I mean that with so much love. Um, yeah, I can feel myself in a period of uh, maturation and yeah, coming into a more solid and rooted and integrated uh, experience of being alive and being a woman.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Great. Hmm. What's been integrated more? Mention that as part of your answer.
What's being integrated
Yeah.
more? It's a really interesting path because on the one hand, I feel like I am growing out of codependent or disempowered patterns of relating and showing up in the world. And on the other, I'm really alive with a really deep desire for partnership
Hmm.
and not just partnership of the uh, romantic kind, partnership more broadly across all areas of life. And that level of kinship and camaraderie and growth and expansion over time. And also, simultaneously with that, I'm also alive with my own creative power and my own individual ability to create what I want, and just the way in which I am the common denominator in all of my experiences. And I am very, very deeply my soulmate. So, yeah, just sitting with that as an interesting soup to be in. And and softening and letting go. I had a moment a few days ago, not in the cave, actually. I'm recording this from a cave. But quite near it, where I really just had a pretty profound experience of deeply feeling into like how empty can I become and what will that open me to as it relates to my ability to receive and be a channel. And yeah, I've just very deeply been feeling a falling away of, I don't know, it's hard to explain. Just a lot of things that I might have wanted or cared about and don't anymore. And I feel myself very deeply grounded in and I was going to say falling deeper into. I'm not quite sure if that's the right kind of phrase, but I'll go with it for now. But falling into and falling deeper into um, my spiritual path, uh, whatever that entails, and being in and with everything that comes up around that, and allowing myself to feel it and not resist it, and having that all wash over me, and noticing all of the stories and the fears that come up when I do something different and prioritize something else. And yeah, letting that be part of the path and the process and the medicine too. So yeah, that's me.
Amazing. Hmm. Some themes I heard from that, almost kind of like a paradox. Surrender stuck out to me, where
Mm,
um, you're engaging with what life is offering you, but also not needing it to go. Like there's not like a forcing or a constraint or a yeah. It sounds like very expansive and yeah, like you're dancing with what's presented to you while not needing to control like every step of the dance. That stood out to me. And this other one, I've been on this like kick of sovereignty lately. Like the word sovereignty has been really like alive for me, and I heard that in
yeah.
your answer, where like simultaneously, you do still you're walking a unique path. You choose to take certain steps, or even just like say yes or no to different things. You choose. You have sovereignty in those decisions that sort of outline your path you're on. So those themes stood out for me. Um, in your beautiful share there. Hmm.
Yeah.
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 I would love to know, I guess more concretely, um, as you're maturing and sort of like becoming who you are is a kind of a cliche around some circles, but also stood out as like description of what's going on
True.
with you. Yeah.
True.
Um, what are you up to? What are you doing that is helping you like, become more of yourself here?
Hmm. What am I doing?
Hmm.
Um, I notice, and this might be the trickster in me, but I notice a real um reluctance to kind of go into like something more concrete
Okay.
because because I want to be able to stay with a feeling.
Mm.
I don't know if you noticed, but hearing you speak, I started like tearing up. I was
Whoa.
pretty much on the verge of tears. And what's alive for me right now and what it feels like is um, mm, maybe a little analogous to something I experienced uh, 3, 4 years ago when I was in a very different place in my journey and was kind of right at the beginning, I would say, and felt really, really, really scared and really overwhelmed and did not really know what to do or where to start. But slash and was incredibly passionate and incredibly, uh, driven and motivated and kept showing up in different ways and really kind of resolved for myself that I was going to, I was gonna quote unquote do it. I was gonna kind of break my own brain in terms of what I could experience. And I was gonna forge my own path as an entrepreneur. And I was gonna focus on scary topics that most people don't want to talk about, let alone pay money for. And I was gonna do that with a particular audience who probably would have particular ideas about me, slash maybe not take me seriously, or at least that was my fear back then. And now I'm in a place that feels, it feels like dissolving. It feels like I'm in this transitional phase where I'm feeling into what's next. I'm feeling into what I want and where I want to go from here. And I don't know yet. And I think for someone like me, actually, it takes a lot of courage to admit that I don't know and to allow myself to, when I say to be seen as vulnerable, what I really mean is being seen being vulnerable. Because there's definitely still a part of me that is afraid that if I am vulnerable, then it will somehow discredit me. And I don't know. It's a really basically what I'm doing in answer to your question is deep shadow work of my own. There we go. That's the answer. I'm doing my own shadow work. That's what I'm doing. Yeah,
hmm Hmm. Hmm.
in my cave.
Right. Very well lit cave.
A very well lit cave.
Yeah. That's interesting. It sounds like I also heard like a not knowing both kind of now and back earlier 3, 4 years ago.
Hmm.
But from what I can tell, I don't have the 3, 4 years ago Rachel to talk to right now, but you seem more again like aligned with yourself or how to word this. Like in the uncertainty right now, you're more okay than the
Oh
uncertainty you
yeah.
were in three,
Oh,
four years
oh,
ago.
fuck yeah. Oh my God, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Oh, that's definitely true. Like the
Yeah.
uncertainty I'm in now is like kind of dizzying, and it's a very different feeling. It's a very because I also feel solid in a way that I didn't before. I
Hmm.
feel connected with aliveness and possibilities
Hmm.
in a way that I didn't before. And it's tapping into a lot of like core pain and core fears. Like I feel when I say I feel scared, it's more about having the space to connect with like my fears and connect with my tenderness. It's not really a fear in a literal sense. It's just having space to feel a lot of things that maybe I haven't really had space, intentionally or otherwise, maybe intentionally, to feel before. So yeah,
Hmm. So when you were closer to like the start of this journey 3, 4 years ago, is it true that you like lacked the space or capacity to feel all that?
good question. Uh, um, I would say no, but I would say that it was more existential. Like the experience I'm having now is different because I'm different. And so this feels much more of like a this feels much more like surrender. This feels like surrender, whereas a few years ago felt more like awakening and cracking open.
Mm-hmm.
And so this experience is more easeful um, when I allow it, and I am allowing it. Um, it's more easeful for the most part. Um, it's just kind of dropping into a different kind of presence, and I think really deeply focusing on me. I've been focusing a lot on other people for the last few years and on myself as well. But I would say that my relationships have really been a conduit for my growth, and service in that kind of way has been a very profound focus. And yeah, I can feel it's time for me to just make some time for me.
Hmm. Hmm. Ah.
Ah, thank you so much for this time and this space. I appreciated you. And there was I all worried about being on video because I can get self-conscious.
Hmm.
And then you tell me that it's not even being recorded or it's not being shared, rather. And I got this nice lighting in my cave for nothing.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
regardless.
Yeah, I I feel grateful. There's alignment there because it could just as easily have been like, oh, I want everyone to see my face or I need video or yeah, but so happened that our rhythms here today match up.
Yeah, but I can't. I just can't imagine myself saying that. But okay, maybe I will. Maybe I'll turn over a whole new leaf. Who knows?
You can imagine yourself saying what?
Like I need video.
Oh,
Just
interesting. Yeah, I could say yes or no, and then what?
good.
Yeah. Hmm. 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 Yeah, it's interesting. Like, I'm enjoying staying in the feeling, and there's simultaneously like competing desires to be like, well, shouldn't we say like interesting things or like talk about concrete things? And gladly, this conversation is so spacious. I allot 2 hours, but like, so how do we talk about stuff for another hour and a half while it's all uh, given like primacy, primarily prioritizing the feeling? It's an interesting puzzle to say the least, but I'm glad to be in it with you.
Um, you are very welcome to ask me other questions. And I, um, I actually, I feel more open to sharing more concrete things. I've had my
Hmm.
more um
Yeah,
kind
great. Well,
of
here,
vibe.
great. Well, here's a frame we can potentially explore. At the time of recording, we're in the last month of 2024,
Hmm.
and I would love to know of this year, this calendar year, what do you imagine like 50 years from now will stand out to 2074 Rachel as like, I remember back in 2024, it was so insert adjective here when I insert concrete activity or experience here. Fill in those
Um,
blanks if you want.
I love you. There's a lot from this year that I'll remember. So this is an edge for me. I don't know how much to share publicly. But it was a really good year. Um, what will I remember about this year? A lot of great sex. Yeah. Um, what else? Um, hmm, uh, I I grew a lot. I um uh, explored my my what's the word? The limits of my competence and where I might veer into incompetence, and learned a lot through dancing with that and humility or being humbled in different ways.
Mhm.
And um, I fell in love.
Hmm.
I felt very alive a lot of the time. I think I had the most like free year that I've ever had. I traveled a lot. I spent very little time in London, and I felt increasingly safe and secure and happy in that, which was new for me. Um, uh, I attended a UFO conference.
Mm.
um, accidentally. um, yeah. UAP actually. Um, yeah.
Great.
Oh, I met the King of Bhutan
Okay.
and had dinner with him, and that was really cool. I really respect him as a leader, and that was very beautiful. Um, yeah.
hmm Sounds like a really bountiful year.
Yeah,
uh,
great.
yeah, I'd love to know
It
more.
was
I'd,
great.
I'd love to know more about the competence you mentioned. I think it was like areas where you are more or less competent. Yeah,
Yeah.
where are you more and less competent? What'd you learn about yourself there?
Um, I think the biggest thing that I learned was uh first of all, the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Hmm.
And um, I think specifically in relation to my work, I I can't make something happen for somebody else. I can't do somebody else's work for them in different ways. I can't be the one to have XYZ hard conversation. And yeah, I think at a fundamental level, I'm not responsible for their transformation, um, or even their experience. And yeah, just to be super clear and clean in myself about what I do and don't offer, and what I can and cannot provide, and let that be.
Oh. Hmm. Thanks for saying that. Yeah, that piece about good intentions really hits in particular. Um, yeah, thanks for saying all that. Excuse me. Hmm. 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 Yeah, I gotta say, I just really want to know more information about the work you offer, and at the same time, like fully accepting if it doesn't want to be shared, doesn't want to be shared. But I guess my desire wanted to be shared there.
Let me feel into what I want to say because I want to be able to share more too.
Hmm.
Um, I think a part of me has kind of shied away from having conversations like this because I haven't really known how to talk about it. And it's felt kind of scary and weird and strange. And like even at odds with the work itself. And like trying to put words on it is a distraction that gets away from the thing and gets away from presence and relationship. Um,
That's really interesting. Like talking about the work can like run counter to the work itself. That's really interesting to me. Hmm.
yeah, because I would say that my work is all about experiencing relationships differently.
Hmm.
And that starts with the way that I show up and we show up within them and what gets to be or become possible and how we navigate conflict and how we navigate ruptures and how we navigate fears and how we navigate desires and everything around that. And I would say that that's what I'm most passionate about.
Hmm.
It's creating that blueprint and yeah, being a force for awakening and liberation in others too.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. I'm thinking about like different modes or mediums for communicating or expressing like whatever you offer. Like right now, there's like what will be released as like audio only words. But I'm wondering like if you've experimented or played around with like different mediums for communicating to people what you do. Because there's like talking to people in person, there's writing, there's videos of yourself, there's all kinds of different things. I'm curious about your path of if you've done this, exploring different mediums for letting people know here's who I am and what I offer.
First of all, I love you and I think you're
Oh,
great.
thanks.
Like seriously, I'm very charmed right now. I just want
Oh.
to put that out there. Secondly, I've definitely done so in terms of exploring different mediums. I would say that mm, what feels best for me and what has yielded the most aligned experiences has been people finding me in XYZ ways and getting to know me and us going from there. My Twitter has been an excellent business tool over the years, I would say, simply because I'm pretty prolific on there, and yeah, you can get a feel from my vibe. I would also say that meeting me in person is kind of the other big thing. On video, I'm great, and nothing compares to in person.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
But I think beyond people knowing I exist and like marketing or whatever, the biggest thing for me has been around how I want to express myself.
Mhm.
I've taken probably a fairly, maybe unconventional by certain um, standards approach insofar as for my sins, for better or worse, I do not do anything I don't want to do. Um, which means that um, yeah, like people have suggested to me that I don't know, uh, make lots of videos or reels or something like that, and the idea makes me feel unwell, so I haven't done that.
Mhm.
It's kind of to what I said just now, like this isn't a uh, clickbait thing. Like my audience and my work is like high value niche. So, I mean, yes, it's valuable to have public presence or for people to know you exist. And I'm not indexing for popularity in a normative sense. Um, I would say I'm indexing for resonance with my authentic expression. And yeah, I think that's been a really good strategy because it's meant that I've only worked with people that I genuinely like, who genuinely really like me.
Mhm.
And it's been interesting and creative, and it's very, very inspiring, actually. This year in particular, I've worked with people that I'm very inspired by.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, it's been an amazing teaching moment for me as well.
Mhm.
Um, I will say, though, that I am bubbling up with more creative type ideas and expression. I really love using my voice, and I have been doing a year-long training in group facilitation for creating resonant, attuned group fields. And although during that process, truthfully, I realized that I actually have very little interest in creating group experiences or like focusing my attention there, I am really excited about creating a Zoom space like this one and just spontaneously offering like a guided meditation. And yeah, just using my voice and presence and my ability to drop in to create something beautiful and share that with others and do so in a way that gets them into their bodies and opens their hearts. So that feels like a nice way of sharing what I do in my one-to-one work
Mhm.
and what it's like to be with me in a
Oh.
different kind. Yeah.
Mhm. Ah. Yeah, I love what you said about like resonance and authenticity in different modes of expression and creation. Um, yeah, because I feel like you could take two different people who do like the identical whatever reels or essays or whatever it is, and like you could probably feel into like, oh, this person like this mode of sharing or expressing themselves is authentic to who they are. But this other person, it's inauthentic. They're just trying to whatever get or grasp or acquire whatever it is.
Hmm.
And it's so individual. Uh, it's someone like observes a lot of people doing different stuff on the internet. It's so generic. I really I admire your awareness of that dynamic and honoring your own internal resonance as you find ways to express.
I mean, what it means in practice, truthfully, is that my online presence is a mess.
Right.
Like, um, kind of intentionally so, because I want to be able to be real, and I want to live in a world where other people can be real too, and can be multifaceted, and you don't have to share in a perfect way, blah blah blah, and you get to share different parts of yourself, and all is welcome. And it's been kind of excruciating, actually. It's like actually doing that in practice. It's not been, I wouldn't say it's been easy for me. Um, and yeah, I endeavor to eat my own dog food. So yeah.
Hmm. Hmm. Well, one part of your mess I see more of. Uh,
God,
yeah.
exactly. Yeah. But I'm showing off. There's there's discipline
Oh, I
too.
wasn't referring to like this one right now. I was about to say like on Twitter, from what I see, you ask a lot of questions, or like more than the median Twitter user.
Mm.
Um, and I also ask more questions than the normal Twitter person. So
Mm.
I'd love to know what is it about asking questions on Twitter that is part of your authentic expression?
I love you. You're great. You're asking the cutest questions. What is it about asking questions on Twitter that is part of my authentic expression?
Yes.
Okay. Oh. I just like hearing from people. And questions are amazing because the more questions you ask, the more questions you have. And I think simultaneously the answers that you receive can build out this really deep and nuanced and multifaceted picture of the world. And I find that really captivating. And specifically as it relates to Twitter and the kinds of questions that I ask, and again, kind of the ideology of my work, I create spaces where things that can't or won't usually be talked about can be and can be explored. And so I endeavor to offer a mini version of that experience on my Twitter, where we can have conversations in good faith about maybe nuanced or edgy or controversial topics. Um, or just topics that are part of the zeitgeist in some way.
Mm-hmm.
It
Mm.
varies.
Yeah.
And there's space. And I'm actually very proud of what I've built. I feel like, in general, like over 95% of people are very respectful towards me and towards others. And that makes me happy.
Mm. 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 Wonderful. Um, knowing more about your perspective there, I want to bring in uh, from my awareness of your Twitter presence, I think from the questions I see often are about like gender or like sexuality. Um, so do you see those as like some of the more taboo topics just to be discussed in society? And what else about that? Like why those topics in particular? Like why of all the taboo topics, why are those two, again from what I see of your Twitter, why are those two that stand out more that you want to dig into in conversations on Twitter?
So, those two topics may or may not be taboo, depending on what's actually being explored
Hmm.
and who you are and your perception of them. And for me, the common denominator is their relationship with human nature and how core they both are in different ways to the human experience for everybody. And that fascinates me. Yeah.
Hmm. I love it. Yeah, I'm also fascinated by those two topics, so I get it.
Oh, I have an idea, Loopy.
What's your idea, Rachel?
Not to like throw you off, but I know that you have a list of questions that you want to hear a woman's perspective on.
Oh, do I? That sounds like me. Hmm.
Well, good.
Oh yeah. Oh God.
And so what I was going to offer in this conversation potentially, if you would, was I would answer any of those questions for you as the
Hmm.
token woman in the room.
Whoa. Interesting. Wow. Yeah, I love this invitation. Want to say like yes to it with some other details. So for context, you and I both know, maybe not the person listening right now. Um, kind of it's interesting kind of mirror. I think like close to the start of this year, like early January, I made a list on Twitter of 100 questions I just want to know about women. And to me, they are distinctly things that women have experienced or could experience in a lifetime. Like I didn't ask things like what makes you angry or what's a time where you felt really good about yourself because like that's a universal kind of
Mm,
thing. So
mm.
many of my questions were more, in my view, gendered, and that did cause some ire when I first shared them. Um, so yeah, I think the way I'd love to engage with this with you right now is like I could send you a link to that list. You can just like I wouldn't want you to like read and respond to all 100. Just like as you like skim or read through, like scroll through the list, whatever stands out, it's like, oh, this one in particular, I really want to read and answer. That would feel good to explore right now, if you want.
Okay,
All right,
I am definitely open to that. I do have one quick thing I
sure.
want to tap into, or at
Okay.
least open the possibility of tapping into while
Yeah,
we're
great.
here.
Great.
We can definitely just skip over this once I say it, and I'm
Yeah.
gonna say it. Mm, mm, mm. You mentioned that when you shared this list,
Yeah.
it received some negative uh,
Yeah.
feedback or responses
Right.
from people in the Twitter sphere.
Yes.
Yes, because of its gendered, explicitly gendered content.
I don't want to speak for the people who had
Mhm.
qualms with it. My remembrance is that uh, like some allegations like it being like perverted for me to ask these questions or like
Mm,
reducing women to a specific frame.
mm,
Um,
mm,
yeah,
mhm.
yeah, but I don't want to like necessarily say it's
Yeah,
representative of the
for
criticism.
sure.
Yeah.
So I guess the question that I was going to ask, because I'm curious about it,
Hmm.
and yeah, your no is super welcome, is
Yeah.
why do you think it elicited that kind of reaction from some people?
Hmm. Um, yeah, interesting. My best understanding or guess as to why that is that people like pattern match into what they see and know, and like, oh, if someone's asking about a woman's body or like sexuality in like a 10-word question, like not too much detail or context for why he's asking, well, then I assume as the question reader that he just wants to like get some like sexual pleasure or like um something around like yeah, just like pattern matching, like, oh, he can't be asking this in like a open, curious way. He must be trying to just
Mm,
know little intimate details about women's bodies or sexuality and things like that. And um,
mm,
yeah, it's a good question. I don't have like the most enlightened answer right now as to
mm.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks for asking.
You're welcome.
Hmm. All right. Let's send you the list.
All right.
It's interesting to um I used to edit this podcast and now I don't, so I get to just like say these words so that people still listen to something while I type query to
Ooh,
find it.
okay.
There we go. Okay. So I'm actually going to read the first kind of preface tweet for this thread, as it is
Where
also,
have you sent this, first of all?
what's
Have
that?
I missed the
I have not sent it yet.
Oh, okay. Got it. We're on the same page. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah, yeah.
Bless
But before the
you.
list of 100 questions, I said, I often get curious about women's experiences. These curiosities come from my thoughts, from conversation, from life. I started writing them down, and now I have 100 of them. Here they are. So now I'm looking for the chat and sending that to you. There it is.
Oh, Loopy. Also, you have the best name. You have the best name ever.
Oh,
Ugh. How did you come up with your name?
gosh. I enjoy just like paradoxes, meta stuff, abstractions, self-referential, like humor and just like clever things. And so I was like during gosh, like 2019 or 2020, I just like typed in the handle. I was like, oh, how is Strangest Loop like not taken yet? And I took it. I was amazed it was like still available at the time. That's it.
I'm reading through these questions and I'm smiling because they are definitely very um they're definitely very body and sex oriented as it
Right.
relates to female experience. And I
Hmm.
do think there are more dimensions of femininity than that. Um, and
Yeah.
I'm definitely smiling. These are great. I love them for what it's worth. I find them charming.
Hmm. Yeah, I do think that's one way that my own line mindset was like limited, where like there is like a feminine flavor of sadness or grief that I may not have access to as a man. So like, why didn't I ask about like the feminine flavors of joy, grief, sadness, whatever, less
Mm.
body sex centered experiences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just love your truthfulness. I read it and what comes through for me is innocence. There's or like childish curiosity. And I don't say that in a demeaning sense. I mean that because I feel the purity
Hmm.
and I find it very sweet. The purity contrasted with the explicit sexuality, which I think is a very interesting mix.
Hmm.
Uh,
That's so funny. Like just scrolling through these, I'm like, wow, has he ever talked to a woman? And the answer is yes, but I wanted to hear from more women about just their experiences with all of this.
well, okay, so which questions are you most interested in hearing my thoughts on? Because there are a lot of questions here, and we could go in so many different directions.
Fascinating. Let's see. Wow.
I'm right here, Loopy.
I know, and the question's right here. Hmm. What is it like to cry for no reason?
Oh, wow. Hmm, that is a really good question because a big part of the last few months for me has been crying a lot more for no apparent reason, just
Hmm.
because I was moved
Yeah.
in XYZ way.
Hmm.
What's it like? Beautiful. Uh, a tragicomedy of epic proportions. Um, It opens my heart to myself. It makes me feel closer to God and at one with the universe.
Mm,
And it's very cleansing,
mm,
very cleansing.
mm.
Yeah,
Sounds like a gift.
it's such a gift.
I imagine
Such a gift.
I imagine other women would see it as less of a gift or just inconvenient or something, some negative assignment to it. So I'm really happy that you see it as just really positive.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Crying is amazing.
Hmm.
I love, it's okay. So here's a funny Rachel story. Maybe it's not funny, but an anecdote that will illustrate my relationship with crying. Um, Crying has always been, I think, a very powerful form of emotional release for me. And sometimes you just need to cry. You just need to run the emotions through. And this is from a few years ago, back when I was a baby. Bless me. But I do remember one of my favorite things to do when I was like in my late teens or early 20s in London was to put on just the saddest or most raw emotion inducing songs I knew. And these are songs that had kind of followed me through life and I'd had a deep relationship with over time and put that on the tube, so like subway in transit and be the crying girl on the
Hmm.
train anonymously, where you can just cry and be seen in that, but then no one talks to you. And there's just like this, like you see and feel the desperation in my eyes. And it was great.
Hmm. Hmm.
And occasionally you'll have some very sweet interactions with strangers as well. But I think just beyond that, being able to be in oneself and with oneself without being completely alone and like the connection with a common humanity in that. And I remember just like going for long walks and looking up at the sky and crying and that
Hmm.
being a pretty
Hmm.
solid part of my routine. And often these were happy tears. So I would also listen to music that reminded me in many ways of how far I'd come and how much my life had changed. And there was so much joy in that and gratitude for being alive.
Hmm. Hmm. So lovely. Um, yeah, it's just so beautiful that you get to like kind of have that experience like a semi whatever regularly, just as a part of your experience. I say that
Like,
in like contrast, it seems like on average like men have less access to like their emotional state and like really be able to like with themselves engage with it. So it's beautiful you so effortlessly are able to have that experience for yourself.
yeah, I find music very, very powerful. Like
Mm,
a few
mm,
weeks ago, Nothing Compares to You came on randomly, and I just started bawling. I really like went there, and it was great.
mm. All right. Uh, continue with my list here. Yeah.
Yeah, your list. I love your list. I said that. I can offer as much positive reinforcement as possible on this call.
hmm No, I mean, it was my own journey to like process the reception and really like beyond Twitter, like in my life. The thread was like it part of the stuff that put me on the path to like stop trying to please everyone.
Mm,
So I'm glad to like this is like a relatively minor event, all said and done. Like, oh yeah, it's good to like understand like I really want to prioritize my own um expression, self-understanding, and way of being in the
mm,
world, and not really care as much if some people get mad about it because
mm,
I'm honoring my own like
mm,
authenticity, integrity, who I am at the time. Like I wouldn't share it like
Mm.
this now, but that's only after having processed how I did share it 11 months ago. Yeah, thanks for giving space for this.
Hmm. How would you share it now?
Uh, like probably just one-on-one conversations like this, like not broadcasting out to thousands of people who, some of whom will, what's like people pleasing? Hmm. Yeah, I don't know.
Hmm.
It's a good question. I'll have to think about that. Oh, I guess, question why it stands out. What is it like to be a short woman?
Makes you think I'm short.
Another assumption. How tall are you?
How tall do you think I am?
I remember like a 5'4", maybe in my crudely
So
misremembering your
this is
height.
funny because other people who have met me in person tell me reliably that I'm taller than they expected.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm forgetting your
No, it's
height.
great. I understand. I do like small and cute very well.
Are you a short woman? I guess is I need to take away the
Oh,
assumption.
I would not say so. I would
Wow.
say I think I'm about 5'6".
Okay, that's like
So
right
I'm
around.
above average actually.
Okay, then this question doesn't apply. I'm gonna keep scrolling. uh,
Great.
hmm.
Keep going. I'm loving it.
Yeah, it's interesting, like noticing me now versus me at the start of the year. Like all these just like don't particularly want to spend this time hearing from. Just like not there's not the large curiosity as there was with everything I've asked so far.
Hmm.
What is it like to be attracted to a woman? I wait, do you ever get attracted to women? Sorry, again, I need to go back to not assume things.
I love this. This is great.
Yeah.
Um, this is a really good question. I think women are beautiful
Hmm.
and wonderful. I would not say I'm particularly attracted to women, or rather, I'm yet to experience a level of attraction with a woman that feels the same as with a man.
Hmm.
Although maybe I'm just expecting it to feel the same. Maybe I'm looking for it to feel the same. Hmm. Um, so yeah. I mean, women are like sexy and interesting,
Hmm.
and I enjoy flirting with them. And yeah,
Yeah.
I would not say that I'm particularly into women.
Yeah.
And I would say that people have often mistyped me that way.
Mm.
Probably because I am confident, playful, seem pretty open when people meet me.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. It sounds like there's more
yeah,
appreciation of women
yeah.
there, and
Like
they're
I appreciate sensuality.
yeah.
Like touching women in like a sensual way is very beautiful.
Hmm.
I wouldn't say that I'm particularly sexually interested in women.
Yeah.
Again, I'm super open to being surprised,
Yeah.
and yeah, maybe also another thing. Um, I experience attraction in a very powerful, person specific kind of way.
Hmm.
So it probably wouldn't be attraction to women as a whole.
Hmm.
It would be attraction to a specific woman.
Okay.
And I have definitely experienced that actually.
Huh.
Um, so a little cute, funny story. Part of the reason why I chose the sixth form that I went to was because uh basically my what was then called like girl crush went there and I thought she was really, really cool and I wanted to be like her. But I think the key thing with that was did I want to, be with her or be like her? I think it was more be like her. And, if she had been interested, I don't know.
Mm. Yeah, thanks for, I guess, correcting an assumption I had about you based on how that question jumped out to me. Yeah.
I'm actually very trad in some ways.
Whoa.
I'm very trad. Like this is what I think people misunderstand about me.
Yeah. Tell me more. In what ways you trad?
Um, um, well, I think fundamentally I'm very relationship oriented and very loyal
Mm-hmm.
and very commitment oriented
Hmm.
and very, long-term trajectory focus. And I would say that I always go into relationships with that in mind. Not in relation to like getting married and having kids necessarily, but in relation to, okay, you're someone that I've identified that I am interested in, and I would love to have you in my life long term in whatever ways.
Hmm.
And that's across the board. That's not just for intimate relationships, that's also for friendships. For whatever reason, sometimes that doesn't happen, and that's okay. And yeah, that's my MO.
Hmm. Yeah, putting like what I heard was like putting relationships as like the primary
Yeah.
thing over like what we can do for each other or like how we can grow together. It's like, what is here between us right now? Let me prioritize that.
Yeah, and also I would say that the entirety of my work is about getting good at relationships
Wow.
because I want to be a good partner.
Aw.
I know.
Very
So
kind of
like
subtly.
that's actually true. That's genuinely true. Like and
Oh,
I think that's the best use of my time and energy.
it's really
Which is
interesting.
like the most trad response in the world at some level.
Hmm. Like my career is in service of me being a good partner.
Yes.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Cool.
Genuinely, deeply, yes.
Wow. Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah. I feel very privileged though, because I feel like I feel like I had a head start because I've actually always, in my own way, had very beautiful relationships and partnerships with people. Um,
Hmm.
so yeah.
What do you think it is that um, caused that to happen over and over, having beautiful relationships and partners?
Um, good question. Mm. I think I've actually always viewed and experienced relationships, particularly intimate relationships, as being not just catalysts for growth, but the places or the place where we grow. And I think I've always just been very motivated by love and romance and intimacy.
Hmm.
I'm a romantic. I'm a Venus in Pisces. Um, I don't know how to explain it. Um, yeah.
Hmm.
And my early experiences in love, I would say in very different ways, actually, all contributed to giving me a really interesting, nuanced, like big picture perspective on who I am and who I can be and what I want. I need to get some
Hmm.
water because my
Yeah.
throat is very sore. So give
Great.
me minutes.
See you soon.
Okay, Dave. Thank you.
Yes. Hmm.
Wee. Wait, I didn't get looked in. It's okay.
Probably not going to edit this part out as Rachel goes for water. I'm scrolling more of my lists from January. Hmm. Yeah, just feeling, as Rachel said, like the innocence of it. Like these seem, in one way, like almost naive to a fault. Um, and yeah, I can also see how, um, Some are just like odd, bizarre, um, like potentially not reading the room well, just like broadcasting some of these pretty intimate questions to potentially thousands of women. Oh,
Hello. What did I miss? Something about broadcasting intimate questions to thousands of women.
I was just thinking out loud about like this list as I was looking for
Mm.
another question to ask you. Yeah. Um, Maybe like one more from this list. It does seem like not much. It's really like if, only if it's like a large curiosity right now. If like it pings me, then I want to ask it to you and clarify assumptions that may or may not be present in the question. Okay. I know this one
hmm
happens. What is it like to share what you look like on social media?
Um, Great question. Scary, actually.
Hmm.
I think a big part of why I have not been more uh, out there with my presence on video or via any other means is because um, I think on a personal level, I've very gently and tenderly been unlearning and uh, growing beyond a lot of shame and self-consciousness about the way that I look
Mm.
and not feeling good about myself. And yeah, I would also say that sharing what you look like on social media as a woman can be hard. It can um yeah, it can, depending on who you are and what you look like and who is responding to you, it can leave you feeling more unseen rather than less.
Hmm. Hmm. Is it accurate that from part of what you shared, I heard that your journey as you've unlearned the shame and self-consciousness around your looks.
Unlearning present tense. It's definitely unlearning present
Okay.
tense.
As you're unlearning the shame and
Just
self-consciousness
clarify
around,
that one.
great, yeah. As you're unlearning the shame and self-consciousness around your looks,
hmm
that has led you to share what you look like less often or less frequently on social media.
Hmm.
Oh, no.
I don't think I shared it that much, to be honest.
Sure.
Um, I don't want to rely on it, or I have a story around that, which is very strongly, I want people to follow me because they respect me and my work and my thoughts. And
Hmm.
I think over time I've also been like, fuck that. I don't want to choose between being hot and smart. I am both. Like, why am I hiding this and being ashamed of it when realistically that is also a huge reason why somebody would want to work with me. Duh. And like I'm kind of shooting myself in the foot here by like I'm just kind of undermining myself unnecessarily. And I think also just having the courage to be beautiful.
Hmm.
Having the courage also to be like beautiful in an unusual way
Hmm.
and being distinctive looking.
Hmm.
And yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting saying you want to be like both hot and smart. Some
Oh,
of my
I
thoughts,
am hot and smart.
right, right. Agreed. And part of my thing on this is uh, I read this great post from like a Twitter couple or a couple who's both on Twitter around like how there's sometimes like a gendered nature to what compliments people more and less often receive. Like apparently in their view, generally men get told like, oh, mental stuff like, oh, you're smart or ambitious or mental stuff for men. Women get told all the time like you're hot, beautiful, pretty, probably usually as a preamble, it's like, hey, can I take you out? But often more like physically, visually oriented. And so like one way to like love a person is to like give them the less often received flavor of compliments. Like, hey, tell the man he's hot and sexy, or tell the woman she's like really smart and what you said there was like really interesting and seemed like really capable and determined and just like more mental oriented compliments.
So I think my view on this has changed.
Yeah.
I mean, back to the overall premise of this conversation around femininity.
Right.
The more comfortable I've become in my femininity, the happier I am about receiving compliments around my beauty. Like, of course, I want that all the time.
Hmm.
And actually, not receiving that, I'm like, oh, like, don't you like me? And
Hmm.
that's fine. Like, I'm totally okay with the sweet, like inner child kind of vibe.
Uh-huh.
Um, yeah, I think the journey is just not needing to hide or deny or repress any part of who you are
Hmm.
or what you want in the name of, you know, being taken seriously or respected or being loved.
Hmm.
And yeah, we are all multifaceted. We all have many different, interesting parts of ourselves.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a journey to like letting go of like the stories and really speaking for myself, the stories in my head around like, oh, I can't express this because people will think that. That's my own like internal gatekeeper. Like, why am I not willing to be seen in this particular way for fear of some not even real whatever criticism or
Mm.
someone wants to like punch back about it.
Well, what are you afraid of people thinking about you?
Oh, interesting. Hmm. Huh. I mean, a lot of it did come up with the thread I'm close to finishing skimming here around like um yeah, it's like being like perverted or like a bad faith actor or like a lack of awareness is a big one. Like, oh, if I had more awareness around how this might have been received, I might have done it differently.
Mm.
Um yeah, I guess things around like mental, like lack of awareness or attunement to other people are
Mm.
things I would not like to be true about myself. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Thanks for asking. I am going to, as a gift to my past self, finish skimming run the last 10 questions here, this list, just in case anything else stands out in a big way, pings my curiosity.
Are you
Hmm.
open to a follow-up question on that?
Okay. Go ahead.
If those things
Hmm.
about you
Yeah.
are or were true,
Yes.
what then?
Hmm. I feel sad.
Mm.
Uh, yeah. Aw. Yeah, I feel your virtual hug right now. Hmm. I'm letting go of this, or I have like a lot of internal work this year, but like part of it is like letting go of like I will hurt some people sometimes, like or accepting that.
Yeah.
And that's tough. That's tough for a guy like me who wants to be sweet to everyone, irrespective of like how close or stranger we are, their gender, how I share it, whatever I say or do or don't do. all of that, whatever the context, I would like to be good to you, whoever you are. It's just not possible. It's just not how it is with the nature of like people being different. And that kind of sucks, but it's okay. It's more okay than it used to be for me. That's the primary feeling. It's like sadness about human nature. Yeah. And acceptance. Yeah. Thanks for asking. There is one last question stands out here. Just kind of the classic reversal. What's a question I missed that you were waiting to be asked?
Well, now I need to read
Of
these questions
course.
in
Yeah.
detail.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. I think you've missed a really big one.
Go on.
Checking. I'm just checking.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I think you have missed this. Oh my God, you've missed it. And it's the perfect question for me to mention. Oh, I'm so happy. And it's perfect for this conversation. So it's even better.
What did I miss?
What's it like to fall in love?
Aw. Oh yeah, I did want to go back to that was the other thing that stood out for me from your 2024 share. What a perfect shift here. What's it like to fall in love, Rachel? Of
What's it like for me to fall in love?
course.
Oh, um, I love who I become when I'm in love
Hmm.
because it deeply gets me out of my head
Hmm.
and into my heart and body and prioritizing that in a very active sense. And yeah, I I love very deeply. And yeah, I love experiencing myself like that. And I love being willing to uproot my life. That is a very consistent theme for me, actually. And it's very joyful. It's a nice balance. As someone who is usually very like self-possessed and personal kind of solo alignment oriented,
Hmm.
it's really wonderful to feel my priorities shift, which links really well to what I said earlier about the purpose of my work being to become the best partner I can be,
Hmm.
which is true.
Yeah. So falling in love uproots your life. That's a connection
Yes,
I heard there. Okay.
yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Which I think is kind of it's I think that's kind of inevitable. Like love is
Rachel's making wild hand gestures.
I mean, maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me that experiences it like this.
Yeah.
I love it because it clarifies me in a very beautiful way.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. And it allows me to experience things that I wouldn't otherwise experience and shows me how I want to and can feel and connects me more deeply with what I want and how I want to live my life.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's been a really beautiful teacher. So many
Hmm.
ways. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like there's a lot of good things that happen for you when you're less in your mind and more in your heart and body, which falling in love provides that shift. Hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Women hate thinking.
There it is. There's the
My
big
like
gen
most generalization
yeah.
uh
Hmm.
kind of
Yeah.
clickbait type line.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah.
So I wonder, like, when you're not in love or falling in love, do you have practices for yourself to be less in your mind and more in your heart and body?
I already feel very much in my heart and body.
Okay.
I don't feel deeply in my mind. I feel very settled in.
Yeah.
Um, and men are my muses. So I think it's more that. It's like when I love every this is actually an interesting topic. The men in my life are my muses. So that's just true regardless, independent of anything else. And then like when I'm like actively in love with you, it's a whole new layer.
Hmm. It's a really beautiful description. I'm not sure I've ever heard that. Men being a woman's muse. Of course, usually the other way around. Hmm. Uh, what is a muse? What does that word mean to you?
Mm. Someone who inspires me.
Hmm. Simple,
And
elegant.
yeah, someone who inspires me.
Hmm.
And I think specifically they inspire feeling and creativity within me. So you may not have seen this, and I have been writing love letters on the internet
Ooh.
for a while, anonymously. And the vast majority of those are about men. A few are about women, like female friends, or my parents, and most are about men in my life in different ways.
Hmm.
I love it. It's great.
Oh. Yeah, it's very,
Yeah,
yeah,
if you search love letter next to my name,
sure.
you'll find a lot.
I just love like how directly like direct like A to B step that is. Like you feel inspired by usually a man. You write a love
Yes,
letter to him anonymously.
yes,
Very,
yes,
very simple. Yeah, that's
yes,
creative
yes.
expression. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I have a funny story though. So someone I dated um a while ago uh told me a few days ago that he had screenshotted my tweets that I wrote while we were dating to kind of keep for posterity. And I was like, oh, that's so embarrassing. Um, but yeah, he thought it was cute. And it was very anonymous. Like you couldn't tell it was him, except I knew and he knew. So yeah. And I was like,
What?
oh, you're in the Rachel Clifton Hall of Fame. And then I sent him my dating history tweet, which is an interesting list. And he was like, I don't even get my own line. And I was like, no, you don't.
Mm. What makes that? You said it was embarrassing. What makes it embarrassing?
Just, like the the intersection of my like uh online self because I'm actually pretty open on Twitter. Like it's my journal in many ways. It's my little
Okay.
I'm just
Hmm.
posting my little thoughts, tra
Hmm.
la la.
Not about your love life
People
usually.
that I like have relationships with see it,
Hmm.
particularly if we didn't meet through Twitter. or we don't have a connection through Twitter.
Hmm.
What can I say? He's still obsessed with me.
Yeah.
You're
Um,
like, okay, right, Rich.
no, I'm glad to hear this.
Um,
I'm
I,
not sh
I don't actually think he is, to be
okay.
honest.
Um, I have another more on this, but like I also have to share right now, like of course no one else can see it, but like right now, Rachel's I can only describe it as like man spreading. And I really am like glad you are. I don't know how else to go into more detail.
This is hilarious.
I know. I've never like seen a woman pose this way on Zoom before. I think that's it. Like this is a novel experience for
This
me.
is the most embarrassing thing. Like, it's just comfortable and it's better for you.
Men know. That's why we do it so much.
Yes, in my cave, I sit with my legs on the table. That's smart.
Mhm. Mm. Sad to be mentioned as like be back present with you and your man spreading glory. Um,
A man.
what's that?
I'm not a man.
True, true. Woman
Anyway.
spreading. Woman spreading. Sorry about that. Didn't mean to mislabel what's happening. Um, so you
How
fell
does it
in
make you
love.
feel?
What's that?
How does it make you feel?
Like I gotta say, there's a bit of like Eros, like it was like Zero's like enjoying the conversation, like the little like charge there.
Okay.
Um,
Despite the fact that you mistook me for a man, or is that you're
well,
also into men?
oh, when did I mistake you for a man? When I said man spreading?
I was
Okay,
joking.
yeah. Um, no, surprise. Like again, I've never seen a woman pose this way on Zoom. Like this is fascinating. Like I enjoy the novelty of it. Um, that's
Yeah.
it. Yeah. Thanks for being so. I'm glad you're giggly about it.
Executive Presence 101.
Ooh. Executive presence. What's
Yeah,
executive?
I'm just kind of teasing. It's like a how to be and feel powerful no matter what.
Nice. Hmm. So you fell in love in 2024. Uh,
Yes.
was this with a man?
Yes.
Okay. What are your favorite things about that man?
Oh, you're asking me such good questions. Okay. Favorite things. Um, uh, his his devotional heart.
Hmm.
Um, his he's very smart, and I appreciate that. And he loves to learn. And uh, um, mm. He's been a really powerful mirror for me in a very beautiful way,
Hmm.
and directly and indirectly, really supported me in my growth.
Hmm. Hmm.
And um, he encourages and inspires. to dream bigger.
Hmm.
And I think our relationship has expanded my capacity to love in a really beautiful way. And yeah, I think we learn about what we want and don't want in relationships by experiencing it. And yeah, I love that journey. And extremely magnetic sexual connection.
Thanks for saying all that. His devotional
Which
heart.
is very important to me.
Yeah. The magnetic sexual connection.
Yes.
Yeah. His devotional heart. Just want to hear more about that. Like, how do you receive it? How do you experience it? Like, how you like? I want to just hear more about that.
Mm. I received love letters, handwritten love letters every day for months. And it was very beautiful. And it's not just the act of receiving a love letter or the consistency, like it wouldn't have been the same if it hadn't been him or if it hadn't been someone that I had a deep relationship with. And it was super meaningful. Yeah. There was a
Hmm.
real sense that he cared about my feelings and pleasure and joy. And that's just a really precious and special thing that I had not experienced in such a selfless way before. Yeah, I really felt the purity of it.
Hmm. 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 Um, I guess like my mind just like totally relaxed and just like feels complete. Um,
It is.
yeah.
I agree.
Hmm.
Thank
Oh, I know. It's been a little bit since done recording. I do have separate from my list of 100 questions,
you.
a different list of questions I like to skim through and potentially ask women I have these calls with.
Amazing. Go
Let me
for
find that list.
it.
See what.
I love this. You're great.
Hmm. Is there anything you're ashamed of wanting?
Oof, anything I'm ashamed of wanting.
Hmm.
Mm, good question. I'm not ashamed of it in a relational context. Like, I have no issue with the existence of the desire. I notice I have resistance to sharing it because without the relationality, it gets twisted in a way that, or it can get twisted in a way that doesn't feel good for anyone. Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I feel that. Thanks for answering.
Mm.
How can men help women feel safe?
Is that the end of the sentence or is there more?
The full question is, how can men help women feel safe in their bodies? I just felt a call to not say the last three words at first.
Okay.
Yeah.
How can men help women feel safe?
Hmm.
I think the biggest question a man needs to ask himself is he safe? And if he isn't safe, why or how isn't he safe? And get real about that. I don't think that it's a man's job to make a woman feel safe. And I, yeah, I'm not even sure. And this is more of my like maybe alternative approach to relationships coming out. I'm not even sure if safety as the place to get to is the right frame. Like I would invert it. I would say that safety is the foundation of everything else. So when people do not feel safe, relationships do not and cannot flourish. And yeah, I think safety in its simplest sense is like, have you got me? Like,
Hmm.
if am I safe with you in whatever ways? Are you going to hurt me? Are you going to leave me? And if people are being really honest with themselves, the vast majority of the time, they actually can't promise that they won't hurt someone or leave them without censoring or repressing themselves in some way, or taking a disproportionate amount of responsibility for the other person's experience, which is actually disempowering. I think there's real deep power and like magic in allowing someone else to have an experience of you and not fighting it and not trying to resist it, especially if it's negative. And yeah, there's amazing alchemy in that experience of surrender and powerlessness when it's related to someone that you love or have loved. It's kind of
Hmm.
like, I don't really think you can be a good guy if you're not afraid to be a bad guy. Sorry, I might have mixed up my words. Yeah. Um,
You can say it in the like
put
affirmative.
put differently, a safe man is also a dangerous man.
Hmm.
He is connected with his own dangerousness,
Hmm.
and vice versa, I believe, because it's about power as well, and being comfortable in that within oneself and taking ownership.
Hmm.
A
Thanks for
safe man is a man who has the capacity to be dangerous
yeah.
and chooses not to be
Hmm.
towards you.
Thanks for that answer. When do you feel most powerful?
When I'm deeply present with myself
Hmm.
and deeply connected. That's it.
Yeah. If you could snap your fingers and change something about gender dynamics, and it was totally normal and accepted, what would it be?
I have so many answers to this question. Mm. Uh, um, I really think that men should pay women for existing.
Wow.
I just really do think that. I, yeah, women are fucking amazing. Like, a woman's existence is a beautiful thing. I think, yeah, I think that culture and that reverence for both the women in your life and by extension, like the goddess and that kind of energy would go a long fucking way.
Mm. Yeah. Do you see this as being in pay? Is that monetarily? Are there other forms of payment or exchange that
I think money is a very, very powerful proxy for
Mhm.
power
Okay.
in the world.
Yeah.
And so as it relates to the practical empowerment of women and a reverence for female power, if you don't have money, you're screwed. Like money of your own. Um, so yeah.
Great. Yeah. Vibes clarified there. Cool.
Um, I do think that money is not the only way, and I think money is a pretty powerful, pretty universal signal of value in the
Hmm.
world.
Right. Okay. What's a question you would like to hear other women answer?
What are you afraid to want with or from the men in your life?
Mm.
And what are you afraid to ask for? And what are you afraid to demand or command?
Mm. Mm. Great. Is there anything else you want to talk about or share that we haven't gotten to discuss today?
Mm. I want to answer some more of your questions.
Great, we have time.
Um, all right, I'll so my gut reactions are like one word.
Perfect.
Um, but it's fun. Uh, what is it like to receive wanted male attention?
Hmm.
Intoxicating and compelling, highly recommend.
Mm.
Um, what is it like to wear leggings at the gym? So I'm curious about this because it sort of implies that this is a distinct female experience as opposed to what other what other forms of legwear there could be. I, it feels good. It's practical. Um, yeah. What is it like to grind against a man? I mean, it depends which man, but generally speaking, great. Highly recommend.
I'm really enjoying
Um,
this. I'm really enjoying this rapid fire format. Thanks for expressing this.
uh, what is it like to shave your legs? Shaving legs is not amazing. I would not recommend this. I definitely prefer other modes of hair removal, although I um need to get into a better routine with that. Not need to. Putting pressure on myself, beauty standards. And yeah. Ah, what is it like to leave lipstick marks on someone's skin? You missed out bite marks and you also missed out love bites. I would like this is my feedback for you.
Appreciate it. I did. I
What
did
is
miss
it
that.
like to wear a dress? I mean, again, depends which dress, but I'm gonna say great. Uh, what is it like to be horny? Um, fun, clarifying, penetrating as an energy. Uh, it's a compass. It's my compass. It's great. Highly recommend. What is it like to have your hair pulled? So, this is a very good topic. I should start a school where I teach men about how to do sex well.
Fascinating. It's a really fascinating frame for it.
Men like doing things. So I'm being facetious, obviously, and intentionally a little inflammatory, blah blah blah. Yeah. Ah, hair pulled. I'm not into like super rough stuff. Like stroke my hair. Just be attuned. Attuned touch is everything. Some women really like super rough stuff. That's not me. What is it like to sub enthusiastically? I mean, great. I'm also curious, why is there no mention of doming on here? It's a
Yeah.
very one-way frame. I would say
Uh,
that the domination is extremely fun. Um, she says with her legs on the table.
yeah, just yeah,
Um,
a lot of gaps here. Personal blind spots in
yeah,
my a
yeah.
personal ecosystem of what it's like to be a woman.
Like to be out in public without a bra. It's a pretty normal experience for me. I very rarely wear bras. Uh, what is it like to be called fat? Again, I actually don't think I've really been called fat. I could be called many things, but I don't think that many people would call me fat. I am just objectively not fat. I am
Right.
very slim.
Agreed.
Um, yeah. Um, what is it like to feel safe in the arms of a lover who towers over you? Amazing. Literally amazing. Amazing feeling. Great feeling. Really highly recommend. Highly
Mhm.
recommend.
Mhm.
Yeah. Um, What is it like to be aroused by someone who can kill you? I'm gonna say mundane realism. As a not well, as a petite woman who was attracted to men. Yeah. Um, I don't think about it that much, but I think that's probably because I think I have good discernment and touch wood have always been proved right with that. What is it like to have so many gentlemen callers that you forget about something? Um, it's amusing when I find things that I've written about people and I remember the situation well, but I really cannot remember the name. That is something I have experienced. Uh, ooh, um, what is it like to be called hot? So, being called hot is actually quite a new experience for me, I would say, in
Do
relative
you
terms.
do you receive like cute more often?
Well,
Pretty?
I don't really know. I receive hot. I
Yeah.
receive beautiful. I receive cute. I don't really receive cute in person, actually. I think my presence in person is pretty like is more powerful than cute.
Hmm.
Um someone I dated, oh, I'm not gonna share that anecdote. Anyway, we'll just skip over that. But it's nice. It's like I said, I've been unlearning ideas about myself that were not representative of the way that other people saw me. So it's actually helpful. Mm. It's very interesting to me that you seem to be assuming that to be a woman is to have an overwhelming number of suitors.
Well,
To
you could say
PC.
this thread reveals much more about me than any woman who answers the questions.
I mean, it's probably true, but I
Mhm.
just don't think about it that much. Like,
Um, there is like a kind of cliche situation that obviously none of this is true for everyone that I had in mind where it's like, an inundation of like dating app, whatever
oh
messages
yeah,
and reach outs, like that
yeah,
kind of situation.
yeah, that's true. That's definitely true.
Yeah,
I'm not on dating apps though, but yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Any more that are cool? I really did like this. Uh, the rapid fire has been fun.
Yeah.
Um,
Um, yeah, as you skim that list, I guess first like thank you for like adding this in here in this conversation. I'm like sending like it's kind of what I had in mind when I first read it, like, oh yeah, it's like a light like answer what you want and skip the rest. Like pleasantly sending this experience back to my like January self. Like, yeah, here's how it is. Here's how the thread was received.
yeah, I mean, at least for me. So
Sure,
I,
right,
I,
right.
I do not represent all women, obviously, but
Of course.
yeah.
And was there any question that you like skimmed or read through today that was like activated like a prickliness or like a you didn't like that question is on the list or anything?
Good question.
Yeah.
Um, so I think it's been a very interesting exercise because, like, I can see why people responded negatively,
Me
but
too.
I just find it funny.
Yeah.
So I'm just looking at it and being like,
Sure.
and also just like a lot of women enjoy certain things that like I don't enjoy. Like, what is it like to be called a slut? I don't enjoy being called that. It's not interesting to me.
Yeah.
Some women genuinely do.
Hmm.
Ditto with whore. And I'm referring to like sexual dynamics more than anything else.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I think that more than anything else, it's exposing just certain cliches about female sexuality that for me feel um very male gaze oriented and not so much about like a woman's independent experience, which,
Yeah.
is understandable if it's coming from a man who doesn't necessarily know what it's like to be a woman, but also, women are different.
Hmm.
And what one person looks like and experiences when she is connected with herself sexually and enjoying herself might be very, very different to another, and also might change over time. Like, I would say that my sexual interests have changed significantly over time.
Hmm.
Or at least, yeah, I think it's more of an energetic thing than anything else. Like it's more about how I feel around you
Hmm.
and what I'm curious about.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I appreciate you saying that, like male gaze. Like absolutely that the thread was informed by like me as a man observing and gazing at women in my life. So
It's
yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
We love it.
Yeah.
We love it when we feel safe in ourselves and good about ourselves. And those two things are things that you can contribute to, and they are not things that you can control. Like, I
Right.
very deeply believe that safety is an inside job.
Hmm. Wonderful. Okay. That's it. Rachel,
Eh?
thanks again. Yeah. Thank you for I know, yeah. All
He's
good
leaving
things.
me.
What's that?
I said he's leaving me.
Abandonment wounds bursting forth at the very end here. Um, yeah, I really appreciate you generously offering your time and just perspective and answering all my questions and yeah, it's everything that happened here. Of course, I'm really happy that we've had this conversation and yeah, I'm just really grateful. So thank you. Um, another virtual hug. Hmm. All right.
Yep.
Hmm. Uh,
Oh, final question.
okay,
Okay, turning the tables a little bit.
great.
What's been your favorite part of this conversation?
This one right now.
Yes.
I
The,
really enjoyed the what?
the conversation we've been having.
Right, yeah, still happening. I really enjoyed when you mentioned towards like in the first half, like prioritizing like the feeling over sharing like concrete information. Um, that was just like expansive and useful just for me to be in with you at the time. Like, oh yeah, yeah, let's be in the feeling over like whatever biographical or logistical information about your life right now. Yeah, I agree. And I enjoyed being in that with you. Yeah.
I
So
feel
thanks
close.
for, yeah, likewise. Hmm.
Mm.
Okay. Have a great rest of your day. Take care.
I have one final question.
Yeah.
Please.
Uh-huh.
Actually, I have more than one. Um, uh, you close this call
Hmm.
and are compelled to tweet about something from our conversation
Okay.
or inspired by our conversation.
Okay.
What are you tweeting?
Hmm. Yeah. Let me like feel into my tweeting 10 times a day self and see what that would be. Um, hmm. Yeah, something around like presencing feelings. Like is there a feeling you're avoiding and why? Or like some like pithy wisdom around like just the um just massive amount of information your body's trying to tell you through feelings. Just some like reminder of that on the timeline would be what would want to come through.
Mm.
Yeah.
And what, if anything, do you want to remember of or from or about this conversation?
Hmm. These are great questions.
I do also ask questions for a living, so like I'm kind of showing
Yeah.
off that, but I am
Yeah.
genuinely interested
Yeah.
too.
Great. Um, yeah, I want to remember a little selfish, but like enjoying like, oh yeah, it was good to like I talked more about myself and just like with the 100 questions thread, like a little more like vulnerable than I usually am in these conversations. And that was good. Like I have like
Mm,
little baby criticisms about what I was saying in my head, but it's like, no, just like really be glad that someone's curious about you and you got to express yourself and be in connection with someone by both they were vulnerable, of course, you were vulnerable with me, and then now you got to be vulnerable with you in turn. And that was just like really feels good to have shared with you. I want to
mm,
remember all of that. Yeah.
thank you.
Hmm. Thank you, Rachel.
Mm.
All All right. Have a good rest of your day. Bye.